Hey everyone, Dan here. We are about an hour after close on Friday, April 23rd, and wanted to do our Friday thing of taking a look at AMC and see what we can maybe plan for in the coming week ahead. As always, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And let's get right into it. So this black column here indicates last Friday when we last did an analysis on AMC, and I've not looked at this chart since. So let me get rid of these indicators for the time being, and you can just focus on the chart and see how we did. So basically last Friday, the name of the game was that, AMC was caught in this wicked down channel and needed to break itself out. So at that point, we would have been looking at it was here. And basically my thesis was that, if it could get support at 918 and work itself out of the channel, that it would give it a good opportunity to establish support at 1011. So basically what we saw this week was that on Monday it rose up a bit, had a big drop on Tuesday, but was able to establish support at that 918 level that we talked about. By Wednesday, had a big push on Wednesday, nice hold in the overnight and pre-market, big push on Thursday, hit our 1053 level that we had charted as resistance. So that's what we expect. They hit it as resistance first and then turn it into support to give it an opportunity to run. It fell down and almost came back into the channel completely, but was able to stay out, and now it looks like it's making an effort to sort of leave the channel behind altogether and establish support at this 1011 level. So that's really good to see. And I think the chart actually held up pretty well, so I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. Now let's blow the chart up, just meaning let's delete the chart and let's see what sort of where we are now, so that we can try to figure out what we can look for next week. So the one thing that immediately stands out to me is this up channel that is developing. I'm not going to put it way up here because that's very, very steep, and I don't think that's super realistic. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to cut off the bottom half of that one and say, that's going to be part of our outlier area. And then same thing with the very top there. So I'm going to flatten this channel out a little bit, and we'll see if it can actually hold this. It's quite young. So it's only been in this channel for 4 days, and even then it's already started to push out of it. So my hope would be that there's actually a broader channel that's forming that maybe incorporates this price activity here. So maybe we'll actually toss it there. The bottom is what I would like to see. I know you're not going to want to hear this if you're holding AMC, but I'd love to see a bottom test of the channel, even if that means it goes sideways for a couple of days and test the bottom of the channel here. I'd love to just confirm that it's going to bounce off of there, because basically the only confirmation we have right now is this, which is a few times, but it's all within a compressed period of time. So it's hard to say that this is going to hold this channel for any period of time unless we get pretty consistent tests of the top and the bottom. So if so, this would be a great channel to play. And just as a reminder, the way that I play channels when I draw them is I buy the dips toward the bottom of the channel, take the profit toward the top, rinse and repeat. But anyway, up channel is nice since before we were in a down channel. So that's a good sign. This is the 30-minute chart, by the way. I don't see any apparent gaps that seem like they would be filled anytime soon. But I do see some nice levels, like all of this area here is presenting some nice levels. So let's do the good thing and scroll to the left, which I've already done, and draw ourselves some levels for supply and demand that we can utilize as support and resistance. That will be pretty strong. And the ones that are strong, if you haven't seen my videos before, are the ones that were previously support and then became resistance, or the ones that were previously resistance and then became support. So those are the things that you want to be looking for when you're looking for these zones, because they will continue to play out in the future, especially the strong ones will hold up pretty well. I wouldn't say that's super strong there. I don't know if there's a better place to put it. These are a bunch of really tight zones, but I think this is what you can look for in the immediate term here. There's a tiny gap here. I don't know that the entire stock price is dragging itself along just to go fill a gap like that. But that's a good strong zone there at 1179. And then let's grab these from this previous price action here. Okay, it's a pretty good one. Just looking for where these line up as I described before. The more areas where it was previously either support or resistance and then later flipped to support or resistance, the better. And so that's what I'm trying to line things up for. And I do this in real time, not to be lazy and refuse to prepare for these videos, but more so that folks can see me do it, and if they want to repeat it in their own charting, they can. All right, so this is what I would look for. Following the channel up, I would look for a really immediate support here at this 1014, and then look for it to sort of hit some resistance, but then flip it to support at 1044, 1079, and then I'd look for upper price targets. There is a nice jump area from 1079 to 1135, so that might be an area for a nice bit of run room, if you will. And then up into the high 11s and low 12s. I mean, these are all like pretty tight except for a few. Okay, so your big run areas, in my opinion, big opportunities for runs, 1079 to 1135, and then 1221 to 1301. So a couple of big runs there percentage-wise. They're small dollar amounts, but the price is so low of the stock that they're big percentage gains. That's what I'm seeing on the price targets on the way up. So I'd look for, a big bullish hope for next week would be something in the mid 14s. I don't know that it'll make it all the way up there, but that's as high as I would chart it for the time being. On the low end, my first most important thing would be to say just be very cautious if it falls out of this channel and can't immediately get itself back in. So if it does something like comes sideways or comes down and is increasing the distance between the price and the bottom bound of the channel, I would be very cautious with that. If it does fall out of the channel, what we want to see happen is that it immediately reattempts to come back up, and even if it's following the channel underneath it, that's fine, because that'll probably eventually break its way back in. But just be cautious first and foremost if it falls out of the channel and begins increasing the distance between the price and the bottom bound of the channel. Otherwise, I'd say this is a cautionary zone down. If it can't hold that level, I would say sort of like send up the warning. And then this one, if you wanted sort of a secondary caution zone, which you could interpret as a stop loss if you wanted. And then I would put this one in red. This should be a very strong hold. And again, that's because if we look left, which means previous price action, it was hitting this as resistance for a while, broke through, tested it, established it as support, and then used that to launch off and then tested it again, support, again, support. So the constant retesting and reconfirming of support is a very good sign. If you look back at my videos weeks and maybe months ago, this 908 level that I'm talking about right now as very strong support is actually an offshoot of what I was saying way back then, which was that 911 was the most important zone for it to get to. And that was when it had fallen down in the 7s and 8s. And I was saying basically that if it's going to push up, it needs to get back to 911, and it did, and worked its way up into the teens again, but has since fallen down, obviously. But 908, I would expect really, really, really strong support if it comes down and it needs it. So we'll see. So let's take a break from drawing on the chart and see what the indicators say. Moving averages basically put us in a bullish scenario right now. Slightly bullish, a little bit mixed because there's some fighting up here between the 12, 20, and 50 MAs, but the 180 is, we're well above that, so that's showing bullish. The channel itself is showing bullish, so I'm not worried about that debate. On the MACD, some things to be a little cautious of. You might have some sideways action coming here, which often happens before it's going to make a bigger move. It sort of does this thing where it's kind of like building its potential energy, if you remember your physics class. But it stores up its potential energy and then it makes a big move. And then sometimes it makes the opposite big move. But it's sort of like times of reduced volatility are often just kind of like nesting periods before it has big breakouts of volatility again. So this has been relatively volatile. I know not in the vast scheme of AMC, but it's definitely been more volatile than it was right back here, for example. So I'd look to see maybe if it is going to kind of die down a little bit, just because the bearish momentum is dying down, the bullish momentum is dying down, but we'll have to see. So nothing super indicating on the MACD. On the RSI, it's basically mid-level. So again, this is kind of like really teed up for just a pretty chill week, which means it could kind of stay in this channel because it doesn't have to make any like major moves up or down to just kind of stay in this channel. And to be honest, channel plays are my favorite kind of plays. I guess my true favorite kind of play is that I'm just happen to be holding a stock that's the largest position in my portfolio that doubles overnight for some unforeseen reason. Okay, that's my favorite. My second favorite is a channel. And again, that's just because it's reliable. When it's nearing the bottom of the channel, I know I can dip by and it should bounce back up toward the top of the channel and I know I can take profit. Eventually, all channels break, but the idea is that you get enough of those dip buys and take profits that when it does break and you hit a stop loss or something, that doesn't offset all the profits that you've made in the meantime. All right, so I think honestly on this one, indicators don't mean a ton. Most important thing are these price targets that we set here. And I'll scroll to the left so we can get all the price targets on the screen. You saw the channel throughout the whole video, but this is the whole kit and caboodle, 908s all the way up to 1441, and that's where I would look for it to establish as the week goes on, if it stays or if it doesn't stay in the channel, either way. All right, well, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Feel free to share this video on Reddit or Twitter or Facebook or wherever if you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video.